As I've talked about before, I would be surprised if he talked all this shit for so long about not only the company itself and the whole buy one, get one free shit, which was, just petty nonsense. He talked so much shit about them, and one or two lines is fine, but he talked so much shit about his former employer, it was kind of comical by the end. For him to go back, work with the person he doesn't like, for a company he didn't like, as a part-timer, which he also did not like when he was in WWE, would not make a whole lot of sense. Again, as a fan, I think that would be cool. But realistically speaking, would it be smart, even on WWE's end, to bring in a guy with a lot of baggage, who's hurt, who's had 2 major injuries in the span of 6 months, and a lot of people just don't like? Probably not for the best. And also, too, you got to consider, do you think if they brought in Punk, that would hurt the chances of Triple H ever being able to bring in anyone from AEW who does not like Punk? We know FTR likes Punk. They've made that pretty clear. But other than them, do you think bringing in Punk would honestly deter other talent from AEW coming over if they just don't really want to work with him? Or it might send the wrong message is what I mean.
I mean, it just depends on who you want to hire. I mean, I don't think they're going to hire any of the elite guys anytime soon, so I don't think it really matters if they bring Punk in.
Well, that's the question. Honestly, I would disagree. I think there might be a chance. I'm not saying they will absolutely go there or they'll never go there, but I think with Triple H in charge, Triple H, he tried hard to get the Elite 4 or 5 years ago when they were leaving Ring of Honor and New Japan to start AEW, before AEW became a thing. It seemed like there was a chance that they could go to WWE. Obviously, they didn't. Do you think that could change by the time their contracts are up, especially in light of all the recent bullshit? And we also don't know if they're still EVPs or not. I would hope not, but it sounds like they still are, which is also a problem.
I mean, I wouldn't, but that's just me.
You don't think they're worth it to go to WWE?
No, I don't think they are, no.
You don't think they're an addition to the roster, I mean?
Correct. I would focus on the other people they have over them right now.
Okay.
The buzz that they had 5 years ago is not even close to what they have now. Yeah, bring them in a couple of years ago when they had buzz. It's just like when it was the same. They had buzz. They brought him in, and they were good off the bat. They were bringing the company, but once they start bringing in bigger talent, I feel like they did fall by the wayside a little bit. And Joey Janela had buzz at one point. Look how that worked. So,
do you think with the Elite? I think they would be an addition to the roster, but do you think if they were brought into WWE, do you think it's a case of kind of going off what you just said, they would be smaller fish in a bigger pond there?
Yeah, I mean, WWE have to care about the tag team division to even think about bringing the Young Bucks in.
Well, the Bucks, yeah. I'm talking more so on Omega, I guess.
I mean, I feel like if anyone, Omega would probably have the best opportunity. Maybe honestly, probably if Page's attitude didn't suck, I'd probably say him. But it sounds like he has a pretty poor attitude towards a lot of things. So I'd probably say Omega. But besides that, I don't know.
Well, here's a question for you, and I just thought of this. You mentioned Paige, and that was the first name that came to my mind as well. I'm thinking more of Omega and the Bucks, but you mentioned Paige, and that's a great name to bring up. If you're Triple H, Punk and Paige are free, let's say, theoretically, and both are interested in going to WWE. Who do you think would be worth the pickup, CM Punk or Adam Page? Who would you hire?
When is this?
Let's
this
say
tomorrow,
next,
or is this in a year and a half?
Not tomorrow. I'll say next year, in the next year or two, because that's when their contracts. I mean, Punk's probably done anyway in AEW, but Page, I think his contract might be up soon. I don't know. We haven't really heard anything about that, but let's say in the next year or two.
Fuck, that's actually a good question, because I feel like if I would say for the long term, I'd probably say Page because he's a lot younger. But if it's just going to be if you're just bringing a Punk for a big, if you're trying to bring in a name, it would obviously be Punk. Like I said, also Page has a terrible attitude.
Do we know that for a fact, though?
Oh, we do.
We do? I haven't really heard that.
I've heard him say I've heard him say in an interview he doesn't take advice.
I heard that. I mean, yeah. The context there was weird, but I do agree that was a stupid thing to say.
So, I mean, the thing is, if you got him away from the Bucks and them, would anything change? So, I don't know. I'd probably say Page, but, you'd have to push him all the way to the top. You can't just bring him in. That's another thing. It's I think obviously they brought Punk in. He's a star already, so, you could pretty much do anything you want with him. With Page, you'd have to bring him in and put him, to the top. I mean, there'd be no reason to bring him in to be, a middler.
I think they would. I mean, I think the original idea, if I'm not mistaken, was that when they were offered deals 4 or 5 years ago, Cody, the Bucks, Omega, Page, all of them were offered deals by WWE. Obviously, all of them turned them down. But I think the idea was that if Page came in, he was going to be, at that point, not a main eventer on the main roster because Cody probably would have gotten that deal. Omega would have gotten that deal. And Cody wasn't even as big of a star 4 or 5 years ago as he is now. So he definitely made the smart move in waiting and building up his brand in AEW and whatnot, making himself more valuable. Page, I think the idea was that he was going to be like the top guy in NXT, like Nakamura was, Joe was, Rude was. Like they all got that top dollar. Adam Cole was. He probably would have gotten the Adam Cole push, really.
I mean, 5 years ago, he was 26 years old. So, yeah, I mean, at that point, also, like, he wasn't really, I feel like he wasn't, like, that known of an entity. So,
he's a much bigger name now, yeah.
Yeah, now I think, like you said, you bring him in, I think he'd be upper to main event scene. I mean.
But then Punk said he was an empty-headed dumb fuck who didn't accomplish anything. And the company which he was wrestling for at the time, which, I mean, the guy's a former world champion, but... whatever. I mean, I guess you can agree or disagree with that statement. But anyway, I think he has accomplished enough to where he would be worth it. Honestly, in my opinion, the timing doesn't matter. I love CM Punk. I think Page would be worth it. If I'm hiring one or two, one over the other, tomorrow, next year, 2 years from now, whatever, I would hire Page because I feel like he just has more longevity. Punk would be great for like a, he would probably wrestle more than Goldberg did when Goldberg came in. But I feel like he'd be great, like you said, for like a one-shot Mania deal. But is it really worth it as far as like doing big business? I don't know. I honestly feel like, I don't want to say that bloom is off the rose with Punk, but I honestly don't think it would do as big of business as it did for AEW. Because when he went to AEW, the big appeal there was that he hadn't wrestled in 7 years. We've seen him wrestle now for the last year. He had a great run there while he was there, I think. I mean, people will try to tell you otherwise. Oh, it was a disaster. Get the fuck out of here. He had a great run. He was one of the best parts of the show for the year he was there. Bias or no bias. I think that's just a fact personally. But, I think if they brought in Punk now, to wrestle Roman, yeah, I guess. That'd be great. But, I feel like with Page, you can get more mileage out of him. He can be a top star. They have enough top talent as it is. WWE just has to build some of these people up. It's going to take time. But I think Page can be one of those people. He, to me, at this point, screams WWE. I feel like he's a guy that if he left AEW to go to WWE, I think he would do well.